Hello, Gareth Icke. How are you?
Hello, very well, thank you. And you?
Yeah, good, good. Welcome to Truth Sentinel.
Thank you, thanks for having me.
Okay, so I typed your name into YouTube just to do a bit of research, and I came up with a video of you trying to put 350 raisins in your mouth. Where you did quite well, but you didn't quite get there. Are there any current attempts to achieve?
Yeah, I used to do a radio show called the G and Tipper Show a few years ago, and we used to try and break world records, ridiculous world records. And I'll tell you, I was about to say I never achieved it. Once I equalled one, which was how many eggs I could hold in one hand.
How many did you get to them?
17.
That's pretty impressive.
It's not bad, is it? The technique is to put an egg between each finger, and then build from that.
Surely once you've achieved that in life, there's nowhere else to go, though.
Well, that's it, yeah. And I must admit, I've sort of struggled with drinking drugs ever since, just trying to get a high.
That's terrible.
Quite like carrying 17 eggs in one hand.
How'd you beat that? You probably didn't notice my little joke I slipped in there as well, saying, are there any current attempts to achieve that?
Oh! Mate,
Currents, raisins.
Too good for me, mate.
Yes.
Too good, it's over my head.
I need to practice my jokes a bit better.
No, you just need to make them slightly more child-friendly for me.
Anyway, so thanks for coming on. I wanted to talk first of all about music.
Okay.
As you're in the music world at the moment, yeah? First question, do you think music can change the world in any way?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, because I think it can get a message out there and engage more people than standing on a box in a corner of a shopping centre spouting stuff at people would ever do. So I think definitely it can make a difference, and I think emotionally as well it affects people. When they probably don't realise why it does, but it does.
Do you think there's less emphasis on political music or music that has a message these days? Because you get a lot of sort of pop music, say, from sort of Justin Bieber and X Factor and stuff like that doesn't have so much of a message, or there doesn't seem to be as much political music as there did sort of in the 60s or 70s.
I think there probably is. I just think that the major labels won't touch it.
Yeah, you might be right, yeah.
I've sort of turned my back on that side of it. I had a contract, I've had two in my life, and now I'm completely away from it and I do everything on my own. But when I'm touring, I'd say probably at least half of the bands that I share bills with are politically motivated in their songs.
But they're the ones that don't become so successful then?
Well, it seems to be that way, doesn't it? I mean, I play with bands that literally blow me away sometimes, and I just think to myself, how on earth aren't you ballistic? How are you not on every single radio station across the world? But I generally just don't think the labels will touch it. I don't think that they would even be allowed to, even if they wanted to. It's just kind of fast food, fast music nowadays. Everything's cheap and quick and easily forgotten.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I was looking on Twitter the other day, and Justin Bieber's got one of the highest amount of followers. I think it is the highest actually in the world. I guess there's different markets, isn't there? There's the young sort of teenage girl market where you can become highly successful by appealing to that sort of demographic. But if you're going for the alternative groups and you want a political message, maybe they think that's not going to sell as much. But I think it would.
I think it would. Yeah, I think the biggest market probably is the teenage girl market, probably because you've got parents that will pay for records, whereas someone in their early 20s who hasn't got a pot to wee in probably wouldn't spend money on records and stuff. So that's sad that he's got the highest amount of followers, because he doesn't say anything of any interest. So that's sort of alarming, really.
I don't know if you've been using. I guess you have been using Twitter a fair amount, but it does seem sad that you can tweet something that's got a lot of meaning and stuff, and you won't get many retweets or anything like that, or not many people will look at it. But when they tweeted that photo from the Oscar ceremony, I think it was, with just a few famous faces in it, and it nearly brought down Twitter, didn't it?
Well, that's it. But there is an obsession with celebrity now, isn't there?
There is, yeah.
And there has been for a few years. I've never understood, because I haven't sort of bought into it. It hasn't affected me, so I don't really get it. But it is an obsession. Well, yeah. But basically, you can bring down Twitter because so many people want to share a picture of some other human being stood together.
And I think you might be right. Like, I think if any of those celebrities are extremely influential, if any of them were to start giving a political message of any kind, I reckon that they would someone would make sure that their popularity would go down, you know?
Well, definitely. I mean, I think Rihanna tweeted Free Palestine about 3 weeks ago and immediately took it down within about 2 minutes. And I think, you know, that's probably how quick it took for her to get a phone call from her record label or whatever saying, you know, get rid of it.
Yeah.
So I don't think these people would be allowed, because they genuinely do sell their souls, and for 15 minutes of fame, and then they're owned. Especially people that come through the reality sort of TV stuff, you know, like the X Factor and like The Voice and all that sort of stuff. They're completely owned. Every single bit of them is owned. I mean, I've been approached once by the X Factor and twice by The Voice, and I've said no every time. But they own everything. They own all your music, and you to a point where you couldn't go to the toilet without asking for permission from these people.
Have you ever been tempted though, like to go on X Factor or to sell your soul to the devil?
No, never. No. To be honest, I played the Alouette Festival last year, and I was approached by The Voice. And to be honest, I don't watch TV, so I didn't know what The Voice was. I'd heard of it because you hear people talking in the pub, but I didn't know what it was all about. And they approached me and asked me if I'd go on it. To which I sort of then asked my sister, and she's got a young daughter who I thought was an age that would know what it was. So I asked her, and she was like, "Oh, it's brilliant, I love it." So I thought, well, okay, well, I'll go back to them and see what they're saying. And they said that basically I could play my own songs, and that they were basically the antidote to the X Factor, basically, was how they were sold it. So I could play my own songs, and basically, even if I didn't get through to, you know, the final or win it, because, you know, you'd have a floppy-haired 17-year-old who would, you know, melt the country's hearts, which I'm not going to do with my grey temples and weathered face. But they said that even if I didn't win it, that I would have then a contract with them to songwrite for other artists.
Oh, okay.
And it sounded great to me. So I thought, you know, okay. So I went back to them and said I was interested, but, you know, I kind of wanted to know a bit more about it. But basically put me in the I'm interested box because, you know, I was kind of intrigued by it. And then it turned out that it was all absolute nonsense. And the closer it got to the date that I was supposed to go in and do some filming, I was told that I couldn't play my own songs, and that was never part of the deal. There was no guarantee of any songwriting contract, and that I'd have to compete against other acts, including a bit where you sing in a boxing ring, and you sing at the other artist trying to outdo each other as if it's like a vocal boxing match.
That's right, yeah.
To which I obviously put the phone down. I'm out, you know, I'm out. So, yeah, I've never wanted to do it. That's as close as I've got, and that was based on something that wasn't true, you know.
Yeah, that's the show where they starts off quite rude. They've all got their backs to you, and then if they like your music, they'll swing their chair around. Isn't it?
Yeah, and I quite like the idea of that. I thought, because actually, you know, I could be, you know, 30 stone and covered in acne, and you're going to judge me on my voice, which is excellent. But then obviously it turned out that wasn't the situation anyway, because like I said, I have to sing other people's songs, and to be honest, the idea of the boxing bit was what sealed the deal for me, because I couldn't think of anything more cringy.
Yeah, it is a little bit cringy.
Than doing that, yeah. And also, it's, you know, people's voices, I think, are a matter of taste, you know. some people, I would rather listen to Shane MacGowan than I would listen to Barbra Streisand. But some people will go, well, she's obviously got a great voice and he sings out of tune.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a matter of opinion anyway. So I don't really see the point. I mean, I don't understand how you can.
And if you think about some of the great bands of the past, you know, like the Beatles and other bands in the 60s, they didn't have to go, you know, there wasn't so much emphasis on the voice anyway, you know.
No, they were just great songs.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's missing now. I mean, I go to the gym, and nowadays I just put my headphones on as soon as I arrive and go into another world, but on various occasions when I've forgotten my headphones or whatever, and you listen to the music in the gym, it's all the chart music. And you can't hear a song in half of it. You know, some noise will start, and then about 3 minutes later, some noise will finish. And I think I haven't heard a chorus. I haven't heard anything. I don't understand that.
Yeah, well, there's another conspiracy because they always seem to play the Kardashians on the TVs in the gym as well. I've noticed.
Yeah. I don't. There's another one I don't get. They've sort of passed me by as well.
Yeah, you don't watch TV much, no, do you?
Well, no. It's one of those things where I don't understand why they're famous. And it's almost like Jordan is another one, really, where you say, yeah, but why are they famous? And they go, well, yeah, they're famous. You go, yeah, I understand that, but why are they famous? Yeah. Well, they're just famous, aren't they? And no one can give you an answer, because no one knows. It
is pretty perplexing, the Kardashians, yeah. I seem to remember my friend said to me that her father was the lawyer at the O.J. Simpson murder.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was the solicitor that got O.J. off.
Yeah, and so that makes you, that actually gets your own show, you know. Gets
you get your own show because your dad managed to get a guilty murderer off. Okay, you know, if that gets you a TV show, then fair enough.
It's a bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think a John Lennon, Yoko Ono style love-in protest could work these days? Sorry, it's a bit of a random question, but
it is, isn't it? Did it work then?
It got a lot of publicity, didn't it?
If me or you did it, no. I would imagine if David Beckham and Victoria Beckham did it, then it would probably make the front page of the Red Tops for a bit, but I can't see that it would make a particularly big difference.
I know what would happen if someone like David Beckham did do anything like that and said, you know, peace. It's funny that everyone would laugh at them, wouldn't they? The media would turn around and just laugh at them.
Oh yeah, totally.
And yet it's not a laughable. It's not a laughable thing. It's like
no, it's not. And the thing is as well, it's the way that we've almost been conditioned now that love is like some kind of weird sort of hippie-like word. And if someone says peace and love, then you imagine someone in a sort of tie-dye T-shirt with a couple of crystals in their hand, long hair, unwashed, sat in a field in Somerset. As opposed to just, well, if we all lived like that, then it'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas an aggressive, sort of tattooed gangster rapper effing and jeffing is considered sort of cool and something to imitate.